At least 48 members of the same family have tested positive for COVID-19 after one of them traveled from Nairobi to upcountry. Health Ministry says the virus is here to stay. Tonight we tell you how the virus has spread across 3 generations of an extended family in Migori County, even as the family says only 20 members are positive.
So far the report that we have from the Ministry of Health, especially those who are tested here, they're not more than 20.
Plus, 10 healthcare workers have so far succumbed to COVID-19 and the number is expected to increase. Frontliners are demanding for personal protective equipment to keep the virus at bay. Tonight we tell you why healthcare workers' unions are threatening to down their tools. And a day after Senate's 7th failed attempt to solve the division of revenue row, the Senate House leadership has today met to solve the puzzle. A mediation committee has been formed ahead of Tuesday's sitting. Cashless counties are crying for coins. Tonight of all nights, Anne Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi, begins right now. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. Now, 48 members of a family in Migori County are reported to have contracted COVID-19. This even as the family disputes the numbers, saying that only 20 members might have contracted the virus. David Mudoka begins our broadcast tonight.
Following reports that 48 members of a family in Migori County have contracted the novel coronavirus, the government says it is alarmed by the growing number of COVID-19 infections due to community spread. Health CS Mutahi Kagwe is even yet to come to terms with the community spread trail that has left the 48 battling COVID-19.
Somebody came from Nairobi and went to Migori, and there started that whole thing within the family. In addition to that, I think we also had somebody who came from Nairobi, went to, I think, Siaya, with the mother to say hello to the mother, took the disease to the mother. He then brought the mother back to Nairobi, to be treated. He died, unfortunately, and the mother is being treated.
And as friends and family members gathered at Got Ogoche village in Suna East, Migori County, to bid Moses Osore, one of the 48, goodbye in a somber send-off on Wednesday, the deceased mother is currently receiving treatment in intensive care unit. But the deceased brother, Nakuru advocate Gordon Ogola, has refuted claims that the disease has spread across 3 generations in the family, infecting up to 48 of them.
So far the report that we have from the Ministry of Health, especially those who are tested here, they're not more than 20.
Seemingly startled by the reports, Kagwe has warned Kenyans against tempting fate and dancing with danger.
Lazima tuchunge familia zetu. Ukisikia ati iko familia moja ya watu 48 ambao familia moja iko COVID positive, hiyo ni kusema ya kwamba hii virusi imeenea kila pahali katika nchi yetu ya Kenya.
The CS has warned that more families risk infections if defiance of containment measures prevail.
Sio hiyo tu peke yake Muthoka, ambayo sio familia hii tu peke yake ambao imeubukizwa kama familia ikiwa yote. Familia sasa ni nyingi katika Kenya ambazo unaenda kwao utaambiwa mama akonayo, mtoto akonayo, hata grandchild.
This as the government today launched additional beds for COVID-19 patients at the Kenyatta University Teaching Referral and Research Hospital. The beds are set to sustain the increase in number of COVID-19 infections as a potential peak looms. The Kenyatta University Hospital has also received 20 Cuban doctors as the government promises to employ new health workers in the coming days.
As the number of new infections continues to rise, the capacity for the hospital to receive more patients is getting smaller and smaller. And to deal with this problem, Kenyatta University Teaching Referral and Research Hospital has today added 60-bed infectious disease unit consisting of ICU and HDU.
On Wednesday, the country recorded 671 new COVID-19 infections as 603 people recovered from the virus. In the past 24 hours, 3 more people succumbed to the virus, among them 2 health workers.
That is why we are purposed to ensure that we have personal protective equipment. We have done capacity building. We have done training on infection prevention control.
This brings the total number of COVID-19 infections to 23,873, 145 days since the country recorded its patient zero. The setup of extra isolation beds here at the Kenyatta University Hospital is set to up the government game in sustaining the growing surge in COVID-19 infections. But the government is wary of community spread of the novel coronavirus. David Muthoka, TV47 at the Kenyatta University Hospital.
At least 10 healthcare workers have died of COVID-19 in the country, with 2 of them succumbing to the virus today. This even as the Kenya National Union of Nurses threatens to down their tools from Monday. Muhammad Ali tells us why.
According to the Ministry of Health, 10 healthcare workers have succumbed to the virus so far, with the country recording 723 COVID-19 cases among medical staff.
Unfortunately, when people get infected, some people also get a very serious form of the disease. And of course, the healthcare workers, as at yesterday, 8 of them had passed on. And today, you have reported another 2. That brings us to 10 healthcare workers. Again, our sincere condolences to the families and relatives of those who have left gallantly fighting this pandemic.
The Secretary General of Kenya National Union of Nurses, Seth Panyako, has directed nurses and other health workers to down their tools effective Monday next week. The union says the move is as a result of non-payment of salaries and due to the increasing number of health workers testing positive for coronavirus.
Do not go back to work unless you are assured that you are safe and the government is taking good care of you. So from Monday, it is not business as usual in this country.
The union has asked the government to provide personal protective equipment to health workers in order to help them reduce the risk of contracting the virus.
Can you provide us more effective PPEs, that is personal protective equipment, without N95 masks and other protective gear from Monday? And Mandera is on strike. Lamu is on strike. Homa Bay is on strike. Do not go back unless you are assured of your security or unless you don't care about your life and the lives of those that you care.
However, governors have highlighted the financial crisis county governments are facing, thus requesting the nurses to remain calm.
Health workers, we know you are suffering. Please remain at work for these 2 months as each county sort this matter out.
It is also unfortunate that the nurses union, is now saying they call a strike. And they know the problem we are in. So how will the strike sort out the problem at the Senate? Do they want to go to the Senate and stand there and tell the senators that do your work?
Meanwhile, 30 counties have so far attained the minimum threshold of 300 isolation bed capacity that was previously ordered by President Uhuru Kenyatta as one way of lowering the curve.
In our previous statement, we reported that 26 counties have attained the minimum threshold of 300 bed capacity in isolation facilities. We now have an additional 4 counties who have attained the threshold, bring the total to 30.
According to Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, one of the main reasons as to why counties are unable to attain the minimum threshold of 300 isolation beds is lack of good cash flow to counties. Muhammad Ali, TV47, Nairobi.
Moving on, county governments have not paid their salaries for the last 2 months. And now the Council of Governors wants Treasury to fast-track the process of releasing funds to the devolved units. Joash Onsare reports.
The Council of Governors has said the counties are struggling due to the delay in disbursement of funds for 2020-2021 financial year due to the ongoing Senate standoff on revenue sharing formula. County workers have not received their salaries as counties for funds.
Call upon the National Treasury to release these funds as the county governments have not paid salaries for their workers for the last 2 months, the month of June and the month of July.
The COG Chair Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has called on the Treasury to release the 29 billion balance from financial year 2020-2021 to enable the counties pay salaries. The Treasury has committed to release the money to the counties to facilitate county activities.
The outstanding balance of the financial year 2019-2020 amounting to 29.7 billion Kenya shillings be released with immediate effect count on or before 17th August 2020.
Vihiga Governor Wilberforce Otichilo, however, wants the Senate to use the previous revenue sharing formula for the shareable revenue and the third generation formula for additional amounts. Otichilo says if counties' share will be reduced, the county project will be affected.
It will mean that some of them will even have to downscale their activities and even downscale their staff because because of the revenue they have been using, receiving, they have even employed some people, they have created some programs which if you are to scale down to mean that the programs you have to submit.
Oparanya on his part says that no county should lose its revenue allocation, and if they lose, it should be cushioned accordingly.
It will be unfair for those counties to lose because the budgets are already there. They have been approved by the respective county assemblies, and it will take a longer time to have supplementary estimates. But they should be cushioned.
Due to the effect of COVID-19, the county revenue collection might be reduced by 50%, since sectors that facilitate the collection are not operational.
We are facing a crisis. In my own county, I had to adjust revenue that I had projected to collect about 2 billion. I've adjusted to 1 billion. So this is going to be a crisis. When it will end, we don't know.
Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Parliament has today approved the retirement benefits bill to award ex-lawmakers a monthly pension for life. The bill, now awaiting presidential assent, will see more than 375 ex-lawmakers get monthly pension for life.
Madam Speaker, going by the mood of the House, every member is supporting this issue.
Former members of parliament who served between 1984 and 2001 might soon be pocketing at least 100,000 every month if President Uhuru Kenyatta will assent to the amendments made to the Parliamentary Pensions Act.
There is a saying in Ijaluo that you only escape from the rain with a light basket.
This means the taxpayer will cough 450 million shillings annually as pension for former members of parliament.
For what it is the
Members of parliament in the current house have defended the former lawmakers, whom they say some are living in dire conditions.
These are people who are in dire need of assistance, Mr. Speaker. Some of them are of old age, Mr. Speaker. They are above 70, 80 years, Mr. Speaker. And some of them, one or two, I attended their burial, Mr. Speaker. They were really in dire need of help, Mr. Speaker, and they were buried as destitutes, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader Amos Kimunya is proposing more Kenyans who served the nation to be paid as well.
And this is something we need to look at, not just for members of parliament, but even from the sports people, from all those people that we see suffering after bringing honors and glory to this country, but we abandon them at their hour of need.
Garissa Township Member of Parliament Eden Duale has expressed fear as this will open doors for the other sectors in the civil service to demand more as pension funds.
Taking into account the situation of the economy now, this bill will cause serious strain to the exchequer. But more worse than that, and I think we must lift the fact that this is going to incite all the other sectors within the civil service.
If the bill will be signed into law, 375 members of parliament will receive an increment of the pension fund. Andrin Kilemi for TV 47.
Thank you, Kilemi Andrin, for that report. You're watching TV 47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. 15 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take a short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back with much more after this break. For choosing and staying with us. Let's get to more news. And Senate has today formed a mediation committee to mediate the ongoing revenue sharing row. The House leadership met today to keep the House in order ahead of Tuesday's special sitting. Our Parliamentary Affairs reporter Elizabeth Mutuku has the details.
Senate will sit on Tuesday next week for the 8th time to try and resolve the revenue sharing standoff. The House now forming a mediation committee that has been tasked with mediating the standoff. The committee comprises of the House leadership, Majority Leader Samuel Pogisio, Majority Whip Irungu Kangata, Minority Leader James Orengo, Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, and Finance Committee Chair Charles Kibiro.
We want this latest Tuesday, but should the leadership decide that we come back on Friday for a sitting, we will all be very happy.
The House leadership met on Wednesday to set the House in order after the House adjourned for the 7th time Tuesday.
Mnajua kule Senate mambo imekuwa ngumu. Leo tuko na kikao ya leadership ili tuweze kwenda mahali tukae tuone vile tunaweza kutatua mambo haya. Yaani shida ni kwamba kuna wale ambao wanataka pesa igawe kulingana na wingi wa watu. Kuna wale ambao wanasema wanataka pesa igawe kulingana na ukubwa wa ardhi.
Meanwhile, a section of Coast MPs are now defending ODM party against allegations of neglecting the region on the standoff. The MPs have distanced themselves from their colleagues who had threatened to ditch the party.
Kaa chini na waweze kuzungumza na ili kuhakikisha ya kwa hizi counties zisiweze kupoteza. Kwa yoyote ambaye anataka, unajua utu wetu kama wapwani, hatukuzaliwa na ule utu kwa lazima tuwe tunatusi na kutukana na kukejeli. So mimi nawasihi kwa yoyote ambaye kwamba anaona ya kwa chama hakimfai, awe huru kuweza kutoka, na katiba ya Kenya inaruhusu mtu akitaka kutoka katika chama anaweza kutoka, hata singoje paka 2022 atoke sasa hivi.
Wasidanganywe na raba ndogo ndogo huko, raba moja raba mbili, na wale lodzi wao wakuja wadanganye na watu wa pwani. Chama chetu tuko na vyama pwani, tumekuwa na vyama pwani viko paka leo tangu Ronald Ngala. Wasidanganye na mambo ya chama. Wamepiga kelele secession pwani, vimewashinda. Hivi chama zetu ziko pwani, shirikisho pwani iko, kaduasidi iko.
Hii si mambo ya ODM wala hii si mambo ya Jubilee. Hii ni jambo la nchi nzima Kenya. Kaunti ya 47. Ingawa kwetu kaunti zetu kama pesa 1.1 ilikuwa ipungue, Kilifi, Mombasa, Taita, Tana River, na huko sehemu za North Eastern zote kaunti karibu 18. Au sivyo? Lakini isiwe ni kwamba ni masuala kama ya chama, hapana. Mimi kama seneta wa Kwale nasimama kupigania kaunti yangu ya Kwale kwamba pesa zipate sipungue. Na tumekuja katika mwafaka moja kuonekana kwamba tukae chini kama wamoja na ni nchi moja, tutafute njia ambapo tutaweza kusuluhisha jambo hili.
Na huko wanaotaka sisi tunajua hii si mambo ya chama cha pwani. Hii wanafanya kampeni, kuna mtu anamkampenia 2022 awe rais, wanataka kupunguza kura za ODM na za Raila ili huyo mtu wao ashinde. Lakini huyo mtu wao anamtaka alipinga katiba, nani asojua, alipinga katiba akasema red, hakuna katiba, hataki ugatuzi. Kwa hivyo ikiwa wapwani tutakuwa wajinga tuwafate hawa, tuseme tumacha mheshimiwa Raila na chama cha ODM, tutapata zero, hata shilingi moja hatuwezi kupata kwa sababu alipinga.
Senate will be sitting on Tuesday for the debate on formula that has delayed monies to the counties. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47 Nairobi.
Now, Amnesty International Kenya, in conjunction with the Institute of Certified Public Accountants, have launched Wapinduru program, a program geared towards the fight against corruption in the country. The program is aimed at training at least accountants to see how they can provide crucial information in the war on graft. Eli Logova has the details.
The project that is aimed at whistleblowing among accountants will seek to train ISPAC members on the impact of corruption on social and economic rights and how to effectively act on fraud and to deepen the courage. The accountancy profession is critical for both the proliferation and fight against corruption.
The program that we are about to run is essentially a program to support accountants to be able to become whistleblowers in their workplaces. As Amnesty International with ISPAC has essentially come from the understanding that if we are to slay this corruption monster, it will have to start with the leadership of auditors and accountants.
ISPAC has, however, urged the Office of Director of Public Prosecution to develop clear guidelines on witness protection. Through their chair, Rose Maura, accountants have been called upon to adhere to the code of ethics to avoid getting into murky waters of becoming an accomplice in the old circle of corruption.
And we believe that accountants can play a very critical role in the fight against corruption, as long as we look at various things, including how do we safeguard those accountants who are ready to whistleblow and to provide information.
Director of Public Prosecution Nudin Haji has urged professionals to do their honest share in bringing out issues misappropriation of public funds to the Office of the ODPP for prosecution. He further noted that some cases take long to prosecute due to the nature of transactions that are involved, especially in matters of money transaction.
A lot of times, a lot of the crimes that we've seen in white-collar crimes, you see that the professionals themselves participate knowingly or are part of the crime itself. And this tells you that they did not adhere to their own guidelines, which stipulate very well that you have to be professional.
Eli Logova, TV47.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has assured Kenyans that his administration will continue investing in interventions that seek to better the well-being of young people. The president said Kenya's youthful population is the nation's greatest resource with the highest potential to uplift the country's socio-economic profile. The head of state spoke today at State House in Nairobi, where he presided over the virtual launch of Kenya chapter of Generation Unlimited.
Today, COVID-19 has disrupted our lives. We're meeting virtually as opposed to face-to-face, which would have been our hope today. This disruption has necessitated a shift in how we work, how we live, and indeed how we socialize. Many have lost their jobs or are faced with reduced income. But today I would like to encourage us all to focus on the opportunities during the crisis and to use the time to reimagine our society as well as our future. To build strong foundations for competitiveness and productivity and to provide 21st century employable skills, the education sector in Kenya continues to receive the lion's share of our national budget. Currently, over 25% of our national cake is earmarked for education. And this is the largest single budgetary item that we have. I'm pleased to note that Kenya's education is recognized as one of the best on the African continent. Today, all children have access to free primary education, and transition to secondary education is now at 100%.
Elsewhere, Lebanon is in mourning mode after a huge explosion in the capital Beirut killed at least 100 people and injured 4,000 others on Tuesday. Hundreds others have been reported to be missing. It's exactly not clear what caused the explosion, but prayers are with the people of Beirut. You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Time for us to take another short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Let's get to more news. And residents of Pipeline area in Nairobi are decrying of living in poor environment due to the sewages that have been left exposed. The sewer lines have contributed to a decline in business and have also exposed residents to health hazards. Nanok Lorraine has the details.
This is the situation in Pipeline area, Embakasi South constituency, Nairobi County. The state of sewer lines that have been left bare, exposing the residents to health risks. The current condition has sent away Josephine Level's customers since her food business is right next to this mess.
Customer wanakuja, wanakataa hii chakula. Chips yangu wanakataa, wanasema napikia karibu na sewage. Saa ile tunapika inzi zinatoka hapo inashika chakula. Customer wanakataa.
The residents have, however, tried by all means to engage plumbers in repairing the sewers. This comes after their efforts to lodge complaints with the Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company have hit rock bottom several times without any action being taken.
Sasa wale watu wanakaa na hizo chuma, mnawahaya kama 3,000 ama 4,000, wanaisongesha. Inaenda siku 3, siku 4, siku ya 5 tena unaona imeblock tena na imefunga.
Caroline from Quarry area narrates that during this COVID-19 period, majority of them do not wear face masks because they breathe in polluted air from the exposed sewers, adding that the situation worsens during the rainy season.
Kwanza kukinyesha hapa kukalikangi na tuko na watoto, unapata watoto wanaingia huku ndani, watoto wameanguka huko ndani. Hata sisi tukifanya kazi, saa zingine huwezi fungua. Tumbo imefura, unasikia maumivu ya tumbo, hata huwezi kula kitu. Kama umevaa hiyo barakoa na hii siwenji inanuka, unasikia hata kupumua ufumui, tumbo imejaa hivi. Na pindi sasa unatoa ndio upate at least angalau upate kahewa fresh. Hata saa zingine unatoroka unaenda mpaka huko unaacha kazi tu bila mtu.
Nanok Lauren, TV47.
From Pipeline in Nairobi to the coast, where the tourism sector in the North Coast region is slowly beginning to recover after 4 months closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So far, reports indicate that 40% of the resorts which rely on domestic market have already reopened since the beginning of August with full compliance of the COVID-19 Ministry of Health protocols.
As we speak right now, around 40% of the hotels have reopened. And most of the hotels, what happens in the hotel industry is that you have to comply. The public health have to come and check that you are compliant. You have to make sure that the restaurant has the 1.5 meter separation with each other with the tables. You have to put the dispensers for the sanitizing the hands. You have to get the places for washing the hands. You also have, as you can see here, we are having mandatory mask places. When you are in public areas, you must have your mask on. That is what we are doing.
We opened up on the 1st of August to a small opening, thinking that it would be a little bit quieter than it has been. We're very lucky to say that we achieved in the opening weekend a 60% occupancy for the resorts. And it's been pretty stable for the last couple of weeks.
Farmers in KAMULU, Machakos County are counting losses after their crops dried up due to contamination of water used for irrigation on their farms. The farmers say the waste released by the Machakos Sewerage Company in Athi River has caused contamination of water, leading losses since they cannot use the water for any purpose, including irrigation. The farmers are now calling on the county governor, Alfred Mutua, to look into the issue.
Na tumeathirika sana na maji ilimwagwa kwa mto last week part 1, na hii ni kitu imekuwa ikiendelea kwa muda. Chakula zetu zimekauka, fish zimekufa, wanyama hawakunywa hiyo maji, wakikunywa wanakufa. Tunaomba Mutua Alfred, tulikuchagua kama gavana wetu, utasaidiaje? Tumepata shida kubwa sana. kwa sababu ya sewage disposal ya hii kampuni ya Mavoko Sewage Treatment ambayo iko hapa Kinani, na kampuni za EPZ na zingine zinafanya kazi huko bado wa River, the dispose ya waste hapo kwa hiyo kampuni. Na sasa tumepata hasara kwa sababu mimea yetu imekauka sana.
Let's get to some international news. Crossover to Rwanda, where pottery is the most and the oldest handcraft and man's first point of entry into what has evolved into a multi-billion ceramic industry. In Rwanda, pottery is still being used to improve the livelihoods of people, as Diana Iriza reports from Kigali.
Inside Kigali's ceramic filter factory in Kachiru, a city of Kigali suburb, elderly women and men are continuing this centuries-old trade, albeit using improved technology. 53-year-old Ndahimana Amani says he inherited his pottery skills from his forefathers, and through his pottery, he now has health insurance and can now afford to take his children to school. The benefits are a lot. Since I do not have any other job besides this, I managed to take good care of my family. My children were born in Kigali city and I now have health insurance for myself and my family. Thanks to pottery making, I can afford school fees for my children. We basically survive and live off pottery. The factory makes a wide range of clay products like outdoor flower vases, trinkets, charcoal ovens, and decorative pieces. Flower vases and animal statues take the biggest part of their production time, as they are the most sought after by clients. We spoke to a few other cooperative members of this factory to take us through the pottery processes from mixing clay to the final products. I display the clay container on the ground. I then start to mold the material we call igitangi. Once the process is done midway, I start to mold another one. Once both processes are over, they dry up and turn into big pottery products that I use as flower vases. I then grab a cloth material to smoothly rub against these flower vases. Lastly, I use a rubber to do some finish touches on the vases and to make them even smoother. First off, I would like to thank the government of Rwanda for giving us land for our pottery works. We also thank the government for all the business ideas it gave us on how to develop ourselves and our cooperative and how to advance our livelihoods. We have received a lot of support from sector leaders, cell leaders, and the Ministry of Infrastructure. With the success of the pottery scheme, the cooperative has been spreading its wings further into alternative money-generating activities. The group applied for and received 29 Frisian cows through the Jiringa Presidential Initiative, in which breed cows are given out to the poor. Today, the group reaps just as much money from selling cow products. Diana Iriza, Kigali, Rwanda.
Thank you, Diana Iriza from Kigali, Rwanda, for that report. Time for us to take another short break here on TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. I'll be back with sports news after this break.
you.